Sure. Chris LeWand, I'm Senior Managing Director at FTI Consulting, and I'm the global co-lead of clean energy for FTI. So I think there's a variety of factors as you look into 2018 that are going to influence how M&A moves forward in the year and how it evolves from 2017 and frankly continues to evolve thereafter. Stability in government policy in the U.S. is going to be very important with the settlement of the tax bill and with the provisions that came out of it. There will be some impact, but for the most part, what we're seeing with our clients, what we're seeing in the tone across how folks are looking at it, the impact seems to be modified. Doesn't seem to be a primarily driving concern. There's now a good understanding of what's going to happen from a tax perspective, from a PTC perspective, from an ITC perspective. The BEAT provisions will have an impact on some of our international clients. We're seeing that from some financing sources that are deciding not to play in tax equity now because of just a concern with how that's going to impact their ability to sort of address it, even though there are protections out to 2025. So stability in government policy is important. Separate from that, there's, I think, a increased drive in looking at midlife wind assets and repowering opportunities. With midlife wind assets, there is increased pressure on returns available because of competition for earlier stage, less risky assets. With repowering, it offers opportunities to deal with assets on an operational basis, how to more effectively redevelop projects, deploy meaningful amounts of new capital, take advantage of the PTCs. It comes with a fair amount of complexity in many circumstances in terms of identifying how to deal with it. But these are opportunities that, because of the complexity, has fewer participants looking at them, although growing, which is going to become increasingly important. Another factor is with, I think, the way the parties are looking at merchant risk. This is the lifetimes of wind projects have grown from sort of 20, 25 years now to many instances it's being looked at as 30, 35 years. And with that, the time of the 20-year PPA is, that's certainly in decline. So parties have to figure out how to think about merchant risk and how to deal with that. With merchant risk, there's an increased willingness to take on merchant risk in thoughtful ways from a portfolio perspective, thinking about hedges, or to juice up the returns in portfolios by looking at it in a more comprehensive way that participants are being forced to consider. This is, I think, for parties that have good familiarity with the space, they can consider how to address and deal with a merchant risk. For new entrants into the space, I think it's increasingly complex because, for example, European investors moving in are used to having more certain offtake for the electricity over a longer time period, and they're having to think through how to operate in the U.S. marketplace where higher returns are available, but how do you deal with those risks from a financing or even an equity perspective? So those are some of the key things.